Welcome to Toon'd with Jim Cummings. I am Brendan Downer of the Four Finger Discount Network, joined right now by producer Chris. How are you doing, sir?
Good. How's everybody doing today?
We're doing fantastic, and of course we're joined by the terror that flaps in the night himself. He is, of course, Darkwing. No, Jim Cummings. Jim, how are you, sir?
Superb. Thank you for asking, my friend. Stay dangerous out there.
Oh, wow, he's here already, Chris. How exciting.
He is. Yes, he is. How the
So, of
heck
course-
are you, Brendan?
So I'm doing fantastic. Of course, Darkwing's here to discuss Bonkers today. Oh, wait, no, not Bonkers. We're here to talk about Darkwing Duck.
Yes.
Now, I'm not going to lie. I think people have been more excited for this episode than anything we've done in the past. They just
Really?
They love themselves some Darkwing, and for good reason. Like you've said in the past that I know it's a big statement because you've voiced so many characters in the past. Winnie the Pooh is just an absolute icon of pop culture. But is Darkwing your favorite?
He's way up there. Yeah, people they always say, well, what is your favorite character? Like, and the problem is, it's a good problem, but I've got a few, So Pooh and Tigger, if I've said this before, forgive me, but they're way up there. And then, I go kind of from there right to Darkwing. And, Taz is in there, Hondo Ohnaka from Star Wars, Clone Wars, and Ray from Princess and the Frog. So I've got like 5 or 6, top dogs there. But, there's no doubt about it. I mean, Darkwing is,
What is it about
he
Darkwing?
is the terror that flaps in the night. Yeah.
What is it about him that makes him one of your favorite characters?
Well, he's the, I'm either sorry or happy to say he's the most like me. He's very sarcastic. He's a Weisenheimer. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but, he could talk the biggest guy in the world. And he was just an enormous amount of fun. And I think it was directly related to just how much freedom they gave me, to just improvise and play and drag everybody along for the ride. Ginny McSwain, the great Ginny McSwain, she was our voice director. And to her, I mean, bless her heart, we should get her on here too. But she goes, doing a Darkwing session is like riding a horse that you found out in the prairie and you're trying to tame it. And Cummings is just going out of his mind and he's losing it. He's just, doing all this stuff and carrying on in 1,000 different ways. And it was just like, there's no telling what he's going to say next. So everybody had to be on their toes. And I think it came across, and I'm really pleased because of Disney Plus now. And it's one of their top shows. And, it's 30 years, 25 years old, something, maybe more.
30 plus,
So
yeah.
I'm very proud. Yeah, I'm very proud of that.
With all the improvising, it wasn't from the get-go though, was it? I've seen interviews where you said you're like 3 or 4 episodes in and they realized, oh wait, Jim's just going to make up the catchphrase every episode going forward now. And then there's that iconic story.
Yeah.
We'll tell it again, the iconic story about the script.
Well, there comes a point in every script when there's sort of a call to arms, if you will, and Darkwing's ready to go in and do some battle with the bad guy. And he'll show up in a back alley or a balcony of an old abandoned movie theater, and very well lit on his end anyway. I have no idea where the lighting came from. But, he'd be saying, I am the terror that flaps in the night. And then there would always be a line in the middle, and the third line would always be, I am Darkwing Duck. And it would be, we... probably about 5 or 6 shows in, and we only did like 100 and however many. It said, I am the terror that flaps in the night. It doesn't matter what I write here. Jim's going to say something else anyway. I am Darkwing Duck. And so that was true.
How proud were you when you saw that script? How proud were you when you saw, knowing that the writers are just they trust you to come up with something?
Yeah, well, the thing is, I always did their line as written.
Okay.
I always did. That was the first take. And I'd say, can we do another take? Can we just do another take? Sure. And, Ginny would let us do another take. And inevitably they would choose the second one. It would be, and it was, I don't want to tell this again, but the one that was rejected was really disgusting. And so I won't say it here.
How disgusting. It's not the urine story, is it? It's not that one.
Yeah, that is. It's that
Okay,
one.
it's the urine one. Okay.
Actually, the floaty.
Yeah. Oh, no,
It
no.
had something
okay.
to do with a floaty. Okay.
Oh, we don't know that one.
So-
have you ever told that story before?
No.
Have you ever told that one before?
Maybe. It's I am the floaty that will not flush in the toilet bowl of crime. And it was like, wait, what? What did I just say? And I said, okay, cancel that. And then I made up something else because I was like, wait a minute, I just called myself anyway.
A piece of poo.
Something like that, yeah. And and without the H, poo is, you really need the H.
You really
got to
do.
have the H. You really do.
Do you want to know something that's a bit freaky? And I didn't plan this, and it only dawned on me yesterday that we're recording this on the 6th of September, your time, 2023, 32 years to the day that Darkwing Duck premiered.
Get out.
Yep. To the day.
Well, let's get dangerous.
Let's do it, shall we?
That's crazy. I did not
Yes.
know that.
Yeah, 32 years
Wow,
ago
good
today.
to know. Thanks for that.
Yeah, on Disney Channel, Darkling Dawns, The Duck Part 1 and 2 premiered for the first time
Yes.
as a movie-length premiere.
And rightly so.
And rightly so. So yeah, 32 years ago today. There
Wow.
you go.
2 years ago today.
But let's just start off. Let's just start off though.
Nice.
So, Darkwing Duck, right? Those two words, Darkwing Duck. What immediately springs to Jim Cummings' mind when you hear those words, Darkwing Duck? What do you think of?
Oh, gosh. Great times. Fantastic times. It was a golden moment in my life. I had a couple decades of golden moments in my life throughout the Disney afternoon. And it started, I want to say Darkwing started as a ABC show.
No, it became ABC.
Oh,
Started
no,
Disney-
became ABC.
Yeah.
No, it started on Disney. It was on the channel in the Disney afternoon lineup is
Yeah.
what they used to call it. And then ABC said, because they didn't even own Disney yet, or Disney didn't own them, or however that goes. But they said, those are doing really well. Can we have a bunch? So we made a bunch for Saturday morning. And I remember thinking, that is so cool that we're doing this show. We're loving it. We're having a great time. Everybody's having a great time. And somebody else noticed it. This big TV network said, can we have some of those? And we're all going, okay, sure. So the answer is always yes when they want more shows.
Yeah. So I remember I read that apparently it started off, and it's sort of, some people are saying it is, and some people are saying it wasn't. It was meant to be a spin-off of DuckTales. Do you know the truth behind it? Was it a spin-off of DuckTales or not? Because I had Launchpad on there, but I believe Tad Stones has come out and said, no, it wasn't really. It was its own idea. But when you first were pitched the idea, it wasn't pitched to you as a spin-off of DuckTales in any way?
No. In fact, it wasn't even mentioned. It really wasn't even mentioned. Yeah, it was, Tad is 100% right. He's Darkwing's dad. I always say Tad Stones is Darkwing's father, and Ginny McSwain is his mother, and, the voice director. And so, no, I don't know that it was at all. I just think, the only commonality was they were ducks.
Yeah, okay.
And they occupied, the same airspace, but St. Canard wasn't the same as, where the Huey, Dewey, and Louie lived.
Yep. Scrooge's Mansion.
So, different. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I don't think so.
You were touching on earlier that it's one of your most beloved roles, one of your favorites. I saw an interview recently where you said, this is about 7-8 years ago, that you said it. One of the reasons for that is that you feel like it was the first character where you were able to create your own voice for it. Because you'd been winning, you'd done Tigger and things like that, and Taz. But this is one of the first roles where you felt like this was you creating something.
Yes, no, that's 100% right. When I first, even in Dumbo's Circus, when I was Lionel the lion, he was a takeoff on Timothy the mouse from the movie Dumbo. And so by the time Darkwing rolled around, he was a signature character. He was, there were no characters, excuse me, there were no Darkwings before moi. And there never will be another one after me. Thank you. I just wanted to get that in. Anyway, he's my guy. Yeah, and I'm very, very proud of that. Yeah, and I love the guy.
Did you have any input into the character, or was he already created and fully fleshed out and established before you were given the role?
Well, you do have input because with, gosh, I'm a notorious ad-libber.
Yeah.
Not only with the intro, I am the terror of the flaps in the night, the winged scourge, the pecs, but just throughout the show, I would throw quick little asides in, and they kept them all, and it all went toward establishing the personality that everybody came to kind of like. And so, I mean, was it official? No. But was it definite and palpable? Yes.
Because you're a big comic fan, and it's very, very comic-centric, this character, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I've got all the comic books. I've got them here somewhere, but I can't let you see them because I don't want to bend the covers. You understand? Everybody out there is going, yeah, that's true. Yeah, okay. I feel you.
They're behind glass.
Yeah, they're behind glass. Yeah, hermetically sealed. There is no air in this room. In that room.
Hey, Chris, were you a Darkwing fan growing up?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I would definitely catch Darkwing. So I grew up in Canada, and we didn't have the Disney Channel growing up. There was no Disney Channel in Canada.
Neither
for
did
some
we,
weird
but
reason.
we just had it on like a free-to-air station. Yeah,
It was called the Family Channel in Canada, and now they have the Disney Channel in Canada. But that was just a couple of years ago they got it. And so, it was a different schedule, and it wasn't as, like routine, but definitely anytime Darkwing came on, I was definitely tuning in.
It just felt like Darkwing was the cool one, wasn't it? It was like the cool Disney show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Yeah. I guess maybe because it was just the superhero aspect to it. The superheroes and supervillains just made it feel cool when you were a kid. And as an adult.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was like, I was always still am, comic book guy. And this was a comic book. It was an animated comic book to me. I was like, okay, absolutely, full speed ahead.
And I think because there's so many comic references, whether it be the names of the characters or the villains and things like that, when you're watching it, you don't really feel like you're watching just a kid's Disney show. You feel like you're watching a show that all ages can enjoy, as opposed to like Tailspin. It's got some adult humor in it, but you feel like you're watching a kid's show. Or Bonkers. It's got adult humor in it, but it still feels like a bit of a kid's show. Where I just think the comic aspect and the dark sort of nature of Darkwing Duck makes it feel more adult than your usual Disney animated show.
Yeah, well, I agree. I absolutely agree. And I think that was by design. I think it was, I know that Tad Stones and all the great writers that we worked with, they all had that sly sense of humor, and they always, it was like the kids in the back of the room who wanted to get something over on the teacher. And so I think that's what they were doing. Like, Taurus Bulba was a character, and it was, I'm going to forget the name of it, but it was a movie with George Chakiris and, Yul Brynner. And that character came from that. I mean, and it was Taurus Bulba or something like that. And it was this big, giant bad guy, but it was played by Tim Curry. And I really, really enjoyed, I have great admiration for him. He's a great guy, a great actor. I hope he's feeling good at this point. And, it was just, I remember they would bring in these people that you couldn't believe, for guest roles, like Carol Channing and Tim Curry and all these people. Excuse me. And it was just a joy. Everybody kind of wanted to, Rita Moreno, I think, was in one of them. Oh, that might have been Bonkers. But, all these incredible actors, they just kind of like enjoyed moonlighting, coming over and dipping their toe into animation and hanging out in this weird little world of ours. And, it was great. And Darkwing was a magnet for that because it kind of had an overall appeal. It wasn't just for, it was well written because it wasn't for first graders, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. And then it's for college kids also at the same time. Now that was a good trick. Yeah. And I think that was one of the keys.
I think it's one of the keys to the longevity as well, because now, because it's on Disney Plus, everyone like myself who grew up watching it, we can still enjoy it now as adults, not feel like we're watching a corny kids show. And my son, like my son who's 5 and my daughter who's just about to turn 3, they can watch it and enjoy it for different reasons. You know, it's just funny, Darkwing being silly, but I'm enjoying the humor. I'm like, I'm pretty sure Jim probably made that line up because I don't think the writer would have written that one.
Yeah. Well, every time you think that, you're right.
Yes.
Just for the record. Every time you think that, you're right. That was a little too knowing. That was a little too inside. Yeah, he made that up.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, it's true.
And just back to your point about just Darkwing being like a comic book, you know, kind of feel show. And Jim, you mentioned, you know, he would have been one of the guys sitting in the back of the class. One of the reasons I enjoyed it growing up was just like he had the same kind of like energy to me as like a Deadpool or like a Spider-Man. You know how they're so they have the quips and, you know, their little asides. And I think that's what really made me gravitate towards it because I just loved your, you know, I'm now learning, you know, that they're all made up by you. But those but that sense of humor kind of in the middle of action is just it's so appealing to me. And I think many other people too.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I can remember one, gosh, I can't remember the name of the episode, but there was this lady that was going on and on about fashion or something, and Darkwing was trying to save them from being ripped off by Taurus Bulba or you know Bushroot or whoever it was, and she's going, and another thing, well, thank you for sharing, and then he just dove through there, and it was just, and I've gotten letters and people at the time they're going, was that written? Thank you for sharing, because that was kind of a thing at the day. In the late 80s, early 90s. Thank you for sharing. It was real touchy-feely. And everybody got that I was being sarcastic, so that made me feel good. Thank you for sharing. Shut up. Okay, goodbye. You know.
I think an element that you bring to a lot of your characters too, like Chris was touching on there with the humor, is that you like to break the fourth wall. Bonkers did it a lot as well. You like to address the audience a lot with your humor, I think.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Well, you know, it draws them in. It's fun for me. It's fun for everybody. And, you know, I've always enjoyed doing that. And you can't do it with every character. Like Winnie the Pooh and Tigger will never... What wall? They didn't even know there was the first wall. Yeah. You know, much less the fourth wall. So, yeah, I appreciate that.
Except when Pooh's at the coronation.
Yeah. What's that?
Except when Pooh's at the coronation. I feel like that breaks it a little bit.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah, busted. Yeah. Did you guys see that, everybody?
Yeah, it's all available on YouTube.
Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah, I understand.
I think breaking the fourth wall too. Breaking that fourth wall also, it creates this sense of like inclusiveness with the kids watching as well. Feels like it's like you're acknowledging that they're watching. It's like, I know you're there watching. Come along for the ride.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's very true because it's inclusive, as we say nowadays.
And it's going to be said just like that as well.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's how you have to say it's inclusive. So you're welcome to be included. If you include me, I'll include you. How's that? That's fair, right?
Exactly right. So let's get to how you became Darkwing, right? So was it similar to like we discussed last week with Leatherhead and all Ninja Turtles roles? Was this just something that your agent pitched to you? Because you were already working on Tailspin and Chippendale at this point. Or was it a case of, you know, if Jim wants a role, he's probably going to get it? Or did you still have to go through the same strenuous audition process to get Darkwing Duck?
No, I just told them to shut the hell up and hire me.
Hey, that's what I thought would happen. Yeah.
Actually, no, wait, I didn't say that. Wait, let me recalibrate. Yeah,
yes, sir, please,
like
sir.
I was saying, I didn't say anything like that at all.
No. So when did you first hear about Darkwing? How did it come about?
Well, I remember, you know, the audition went out to me and everybody else in town, and it was they actually, oddly enough, based it a little bit off of a Daffy Duck Warner Brothers episode in which he took on the role of the Scarlet Pimpernel, and it was a one-off. It was in one Bugs Bunny short, you know, 1 7-minute cartoon, but the outfit looked like Darkwing, but it was red. You know, he had the big flowing hat and sort of a, you know, slightly musketeerish, and it had a little bit of the shadow in it, which was an old, I guess, 40s pulp, pulp fiction character. And so they put it together, and they said, well, we can't make it red. We can't, this and that. And this guy's white, and Daffy was black. And so they kind of, massaged it a little bit and came up with that outfit that he's got on. In fact, I think you can see it right back there. There's a few. I'm never far from a few Darkwing.
Darkwing's everywhere.
Darkwing's everywhere. I mean, in case I feel like someone's watching me. Anyway, so yeah, they just put that all together, and they certainly didn't want it to sound, like at that point, Donald and Daffy Duck were the two famous ducks, if you will, And Donald, nobody can understand what the hell he's saying, so we couldn't have that, could we? And then Daffy, fluffer and fluckatash, with all the spitting and the this and the that. We can't do that. So I thought, gosh, I don't think I've ever said this before. Okay, so everybody cover your ears, because this is stuff that nobody's ever heard before, unless I've said it before. And I was thinking that it would be nice to have a little bit of the looniness of Daffy Duck in there, but without the spit, and you can understand what the hell he's saying. Because that's always a plus when you're doing voiceover, to let them actually know what you're saying, and because Daffy Duck is sort of like this. And Darkwing Duck is sort of like that. And I'm sure there was no similarity in that. Maybe a little bit. But I just thought, well, let's try that. And let's see. And then, see, it's not just a voice. I've always said, people say, well, how do I become a voice actor? Now, it's not that you're becoming a voice actor. You're becoming an actor who uses your voice. It's Jess Harnell said it. When you're a voice actor, it's a small V, but it's a capital A. And that's the key.